deer there, and of course the town pet that's underneath the jaw, a squirrel.
Oh, looky there, there's a squirrel hide. That's what Mr. Squirrel looks like. That's what his fur looks like.
And you can, of course, you guys know a raccoon. And this is a muskrat up here in this little pelt. And this is a beaver pelt. This is what brought the French and the British here.
Yeah, the beaver hides because of the fur trade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they used them in Europe for coats and hats. These are coyotes, these big ones.
Wow.
Yeah, well, around here, this is about how big they do get. Of course, you
Holy
all know
cow.
Peppy the
Oh,
Pew.
there's a skunk.
You watch Bugs Bunny, the old Bugs Bunny cartoons. They used to call
They
him
don't
Peppy.
care, not lie.
Oh, go over there and touch the skunk
And
fur.
here's a gray fox.
Wow.
This is a red fox. Now, I saw one of these up by Walmart about 2 or 3 years ago that was even bigger than this.
Wow.
Excuse me?
Mm-hmm.
Why is there a handle down here?
Well, we store things in the basement. It's a modern basement. They didn't have basements in the old days.
This house was over 200 years old, guys. Right here's where the fireplace, that's where they did all their cooking. They would cook bread and pizza, and well, probably not pizza, but
That was your oven.
that was your oven and your stove.
That was your heat. And when the fire went out at night, it got mighty cold in here.
Very cold. That's how they lived 200 years ago.
How you doing?
What do you think, Daniel? It's like camping, isn't it?
But if you think for a minute, these logs could have been made by colonial soldiers
This
200
is how you knit it
years ago
back then.
when they made Fort McIntosh.
This is how you
I know
what?
how they knitted back then. Like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, they made yarn from the wool of the sheep. You see all the cooking utensils? Now, on the frontier, candles were very expensive, so this is what they used with grease in it and a wick. That
That's-
probably wouldn't make much more light than a little birthday candle, if that. So it got mighty dark in here at night. So when you read about stories about Abe Lincoln reading in front of a fireplace, that was probably the best source of light.
That was the light that they used to read by, huh?
That was everything.
Wow.
And
Now,
they
what's
thought-
that? What's the silver box in the corner for
Well,
us?
that's kind of a modern bake oven. You face it towards the fire and you can bake in it.
Oh,
Because
wow.
it reflects the heat back. The more common baking would have been in the Dutch ovens.
Right.
Where they put the coals on top and then of course set it over coals, and that was a perfect little oven.
Now, is that clock time era too?
No, that's
A
later.
little bit newer, huh?
You wouldn't have seen a clock like that
I
on
was,
the early
I
frontier.
was thinking you wouldn't.
Excuse me? What are those two things right in front of the stove?
Well, that's like a hearth. And you put logs on top of it so you can get draft up underneath them.
So,
And it'll burn.
no, what he means by draft is the air would circulate underneath the wood so that it could catch fire and burn right.
See how this swings out so you don't have to stand over the fire?
Ooh, that's
So they'd have the fire and they would put their pots on there and then they would swing that over and cook their food.
But a lot of things cook over embers, just like a charcoal
Right.
barbecue today, because the embers were hotter than a fire.
What the embers are, that's the hot things that after the wood burns up and it's left with the red when we have our campfire, those are what embers are.
See, here's a toaster. You toast on one side. and
Oh,
you
wow,
turn it
looky.
around, And you toast your bread on the other
Look,
side.
that's how they toasted their bread, Daniel. See that? I
Here's
see.
here's a skillet. Now you put a skillet on a gas stove today. Well, this, you'd set it right over the embers on the
Okay, well,
fire.
they told him that he was allowed to play with those things.
Yeah, you can see how they work. That's what it's for here. This is a learning experience.
What do you think, Sam? You want to make some clothes?
Would you guys like to live in a cabin like this? No lights after dark, except maybe candles. It got mighty cold in here when the fire went out.
So let me show you how you do
Where
it.
would they have slept?
Well, probably the parents and small children will be down here, 1 or 2 beds, and then the kids.